Have you ever wondered what's the difference between being a variety streamer versus a streamer who only streams one game? Well, I'm here to share my experience with both and kind of give my overall recommendation. Now, I want to start off with emphasizing that streaming requires a huge amount of consistency, whether that's in your schedule, in your channel elements, or your presence across social media. Consistency is huge when it comes to streaming and making content online. With that being said, there is still a huge number of variety streamers who are successful on Twitch. And kind of the one thing I've noticed when I was streaming a variety of games is that I had a much harder sell on my personality and who I was and what my brand stood for as a variety streamer compared to, when I only played one game, or streamers in general who only play one game. Because as a viewer, when you are looking for people to watch on Twitch, generally you look based by game. So you know what games you enjoy, what gameplay you want to see. And so when you're trying to find a new streamer, it's either you found content of theirs off platform, or you're scrolling through a specific game because you like that gameplay. And to give kind of an example, when I was kind of going super crazy with the variety, it would be, one day a week I'd be playing Dead by Daylight, and then the next day I would be playing Magic the Gathering Arena. Now, if you know anything about those games, they are drastically different games. And so, people might be coming into Dead by Daylight and they'll be enjoying Dead by Daylight and they're familiar with Dead by Daylight. But then if they pop in when I'm playing Magic the Gathering, they weren't as familiar with it because these games have two totally different audiences. They play completely different. There's nothing similar about them at all. And so, as somebody's coming in, having seen me previously play Dead by Daylight, they come into Magic the Gathering, they're confused. They don't understand the game mechanics. They don't know what the game's about. And so they might be more inclined to leave unless you're able to sell yourself and your personality while you're playing it more, which is a lot easier said than done, to be completely honest. Now, when it came to my time playing single games, so I did 2 different months where I played just one game each month. The first one was Dead by Daylight, the second one being Pokemon. And the thing that I noticed when it came to those games is that my numbers became a lot more stable. Now, while I had a much higher average viewership when I was a variety streamer, I had a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys when it came to that viewership, which can kind of be a lot when it comes to your mental health. But when I played, just Dead by Daylight and then just Pokemon, my numbers were a lot closer in average. Like, there weren't as many peaks and valleys, across the board. My numbers were a lot steadier. But with that being said, though, my numbers tend to reflect the size of the game. So if you know anything about Dead by Daylight and Pokemon on Twitch, they have vastly different average viewerships per game, Pokemon being the smaller of the two. And so, even between those, I had a higher average viewership when it came to streaming Dead by Daylight because there was a much larger audience pool to pull from. Now, this might not translate to games like Call of Duty and Apex, where they're just huge on Twitch. But I will say that, in general, my viewership tended to be a reflection of those games. While a lot of people might preach that you should be more discoverable on a game like Pokemon versus that, you still kind of have a ceiling when it comes to Twitch of the viewership that you'll get. And so, like when the ceiling for Pokemon is here, but the ceiling for Dead by Daylight is here, you kind of see that when it comes to your numbers. And another thing I noticed, and this wasn't even just something myself I experienced, it was something I experienced when I was hanging out with a lot of Phasmophobia streamers, is that when you only play one game, you're essentially tying your brand to that game. And so when you try to move to different games, there's a bit of a growing pain because outside of your core audience, you will see a dip in numbers. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a 5 average viewer person or if you're somebody like the Doc, Tim the Tatman, because even they see a dip in numbers when they switch from games that they're not normally known for. And so that's kind of one of those things that you have to think about when you decide to play only a single game is, do you want to tie your brand to this game? So like with Phasmophobia specifically, a lot of Phasmophobia streamers, when content started to dry out in the game, they would try to switch to other games. And, it could be horror, it could be something completely different, but they all struggled because as soon as they tried a different game, they would see a dip in their numbers. And that can be really devastating as a streamer when you work so hard and, to no fault of your own, your numbers start to dip because you need to move games. So overall, with my experience, I don't think I would recommend variety streaming over single play streaming, and vice versa, because ultimately I think you need to play games that you enjoy. Now, you know, if you do want to stick with a variety, it can be easier if you stick to things that are similar. So, you know, if you only play horror games, you know, you're not tying your brand to one game, but you know, you're kind of creating consistency, like as a horror streamer. Or, you know, like if you do want to kind of tie yourself to one game, you know, look for a game that's got a lot of variety. You know, when I played Pokemon, you know, I didn't just play one Pokemon game. You know, I played Pokemon Shield, I played Pokemon Snap. I plan on playing Pokemon United when it comes out because I still play Pokemon. But you know, at the end of the day, you need to be happy with the content that you make. You know, I actually shot this video and published, edited. Like, I was ready to do this video once, and you know, since the time I filmed that video between when I'm filming this now, I kind of decided that, you know, streaming one game or even streaming one subset of a game, like, it wasn't for me. You know, I love Pokemon games. I will still be streaming Pokemon games, but I love Dead by Daylight. Like, I love those games so much, and it just so happens that my audience loves them too. So, you know, while consistency might be great and it might boost you in the long run, ultimately I say play the games that make you happy. Now, I hope this video was informative and helpful at all. If it was, you know, please like and subscribe to my channel. It would mean the world to me. You know, if you've got any tips or anything that you've noticed, if you've tried this like little experiment before, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know how stuff like this worked out for you.